Blank. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Welcome to MPPSCADDA. There was some network congestion. That's why we have tried through 3 to 4 times. And sorry for the delay. So right now, I think everything is comfortable. Net is working fine from our end. And there was some black screen in the previous live sessions, live streaming just we did for 1 minute or 30 seconds. Sorry for the interruption and let's move ahead. Let's see. So welcome to the today's session with new questions in 2 markers according to the new scheme of MPPSC exam as well as one 7 marker. And today I have brought one new thing, that is one evaluated copy by MPPSC at the team. So we will see today what kind of evaluation is going to help you, right? Because simply ticking and ticking the correct and then giving you simply marks is not going to help you, which everywhere students are getting. So students are coming to MPPSC ADDA for something specific. Most important thing, we are in English medium. Second important thing, that we provide a detailed evaluation. And if you are not at all prepared, right, to listen to the feedback or to write the answer at the first place, then please don't seek our guidance. Okay, so MPPSC Adda is only for the serious candidates. Every day we are coming live and guiding you how to write answers, and this session which we are bringing in front of you and the answers which we are bringing to you are very very meticulously designed after hours of hard work, right? It's not just you just Google the answer or read somewhere and start writing. So these answers are very well drafted, crafted, right? And meticulously designed to score good marks. So you need to give value to this session, and you need to give value to your own time by listening to this and jotting down the key points, understanding things we have also brought up, as I can show it to you like this. See, this is the evaluated copy of a person who is targeting 2024 and GS paper 1. So that's aspirant scored around 69 out of 150. That is a very good marks, right? Considering our evaluation, we are very strict and very critical in our evaluation. We provide the overall remarks on our copy as well as remarks on each and every question along with the marks. I hope this copy would be visible to you, right? So very important aspect is to understand, for example, I'm just before starting the session, I'm showing you the copy, what kind of answers students are writing, what we expect or the examiner expect from you. For example, this El Nino, the question says El Nino, which is a very common question, but still students are doing mistakes in each and every answer written for the El Nino. Nobody knows the exact answer. The prelims also ask the question about it, and it says that is a warm current, and most of the students did it incorrect, right? So you need to check the 4 statements given in the prelims exam also, and you need to understand that at the Peruvian coast, warmer than usual water comes, and because of that there is a absence of the marine ecosystem or the fish for their fishing ecosystem of the coastal areas, right? So yeah, in this case, as you can see, the student has written that it is also known as the girl child. That is the first biggest mistake. It is the little boy. You need to write it correctly. Second is the phenomena over the Peruvian coast. So whenever you are writing Peruvian, write P in the capital. Next important point, hot water circulation in Pacific Ocean. It is not the hot water circulation in the Pacific Ocean as you can see here, right? As you can see here, it is the not the hot water circulation is the Pacific, it is the hot water circulation on the Peruvian coast. You can't say that in the complete Pacific Ocean hot water is circulating, right? So it is the presence of hot water on the Peruvian coast, that is the western part of the South America, right? I hope the things are clear. It negative impact on Indian agriculture, right? You can write negatively impacts the Indian monsoon, because you are writing skipping 2 or 3 steps, right? The monsoon and the availability of water and the agriculture. You can simply write it negatively impact Indian monsoon, as we can feel in 2024 also, as it was predicted by the Indian Meteorological Department, IMD, that El Nino is going to impact the Indian monsoons and its intensity, and that's why we will encounter less rainfall, and the same thing we are experiencing right now, because it's already been a month of the Indian monsoons, and how much rainfall we have received now, especially in the central part of India and the northern part, we need to really look on it, because the eastern coast and the lower Gangetic Valley is receiving monsoon, as you have heard, and some abrupt rainfall in the Delhi region. Because of that, the whole Delhi is submerged right now. Along with that, there are floods in the Bihar, Bengal, and the eastern coastal regions, right? So what is it, what is its cause? Its cause is the El Nino in the Pacific Ocean. So El Nino is simply the presence of hot and warm current on the Peruvian coast, and then there are cells formations in the overall Pacific Ocean, which brings, or which pulls, or which decelerates the intensity of the Indian monsoon. So this kind of understanding is necessary to write a simple four-liner answer, and step by step you need to write it. Okay, one more question related to geography, because most of the students think that they know the geography part or the history part. That's why I'm just discussing these two questions. Then I will move forward. That is, what is hurricane and where are they found? See, the student writes hurricane is an hot, then air is really cut and overwritten, which is not at all considered as written by the examiner. He or she will not take any pain to read your words like this. Hot, then circulation found. See, I'm not saying that this student doesn't know the answer. I'm saying he or she knows the answer, but you need to understand that this kind of writing is not going to help you. And most of us who starts writing will write in this manner only, and their thought processes will overlap. That's why this overwriting and cutting we will see in the answer. Before starting the pen in your copy, first draft the answer in your mind. That is very, very important. So hurricane is a type of tropical cyclone. This is the first line you should write. So as it is marked here, hurricane is a cyclonic circulation. That also you can write. It is a tropical, but tropical word is necessary. But this student has already mentioned here, as I am just encircling this point. Tropical. This student has already written. So that's why I'm not written it above. This copy is evaluated today only, right? That's why I brought it to you. So hurricane is a tropical cyclonic circulation, but there are different kinds of cyclonic circulations. Where is it exactly found? It is found mostly in the eastern coast of the USA. So when you write USA, USA has both the coast, right? West as well as the eastern coast is very, very important, sir. But cyclones are active in the Indian Ocean, in both the regions, Arabian Sea as well as Bay of Bengal. What we are talking about is the Bay of Bengal cyclones, which are really harmful to us, and their season is just after this Indian monsoon season of July and August. So in the season of October, September, October, November, we encounter these kind of cyclones on the eastern coast. That is Bengal, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh are the most affected regions, right? But yes, in the Arabian Sea also we find the cyclones, but those are tropical cyclones, but the season is not same. Season is the second one, that is the spring season, and after that when the overheating of the continent starts in the summer season, and that is after 21st of March, when the sun starts ascending towards the Tropic of Cancer, that is reaching up to Jan 23.5 degree TOC. So at that time in the Arabian Sea, we encounter cyclonic circulations. But again, the region is between the 23.5. That's why we called as tropical cyclones, right? So is it clear? that what kind of answers we are expecting from you and how you need to just approach things. Correct, Shelly? Next point we will understand. Right now, let's see. One more question I wanted to show you that in the same paper I have already also asked La Nina again. See, also called as Christ birth. No, it is a little girl. Again, the Peruvian coast. You need to be very thorough with the grammar of English. Grammatical errors are not at all entertained there. Spelling errors are not entertained, they are not expected from people like you, right? Next important point, Damodar Valley Corporation, Khetri mines. Let's see this question. Copper mines in India. I'm talking about this question, right? Copper mines in India. Copper mines in India. Whenever you write about the copper mines, just keep that in mind that Khetri mines and Malaj Khand are the most important mines you need to mention. But production wise, 60% of the total copper is coming from Malaj Khand. So why are you writing Khetri or Zawar mines in the starting? You need to highlight in the MPPSC about the Madhya Pradesh. So Malaj Khand mines is the participating as a 60% share in the total production. I'm not saying the reserves, I'm saying the production. So let's highlight Malaj Khand first and then the reserve. So for the reserve, Rajasthan is really at the top, the Khetri mines and all, but our Malaj Khand is at the currently top. And where is it located? Located in Balaghat. And see, this aspirant has already done the mistake for the Balaghat. You need to write as a proper noun, it starts with the capital alphabet. We are not going to tell you again and again. This is the fundamental thing which we expect from you, right? And these things will not be encountered, will not be entertained by the examiner. I'm telling you, this will leave a negative impression in the first 2 3 pages, and you are going to lose marks, at least 7 to 10 marks in the overall paper because of these mistakes, just by the negative impression that this student, even though belonging from the English medium, still doesn't know how to write proper noun spellings and continuously does the overwriting and cutting, right? So leave the content. First, make your handwriting legible. Legible means easily readable. Second point, noun and all the grammatical errors should be well taken care of. Number third point is spelling should be well taken care of. Now we come to the accuracy of the content. Next, organization of content. Next, presentation of facts through the flowchart. These are the all these steps you need to take care of. Okay, so Khetri and Malajkhand are very important. Let's see one more point regarding the Indus River tributaries. A very easy question regarding the three important tributary of river Indus. This question asks about it. Three important tributaries. So in this, very important. Whenever you are talking about the Indus River tributary, it's your duty to tell the examiner in the copy in all the tributaries in a sequence. Please maintain that sequence. You all know that the Battle of Hydaspes or the Battle of Vitasta was fought on the Battle of Vitasta, that is Jhelum. Right? Jhelum is the first tributary of Indus. So please maintain the sequence. We always learn about these Panchanad or Sapta Sindhu regions since ancient history. So Jhelum, then Chenab, then Ravi, then Byas, and then Satluj. Right? So keep that in mind because examiners' model hints will be in that sequence, even though you have written all the things, but make things easier for the examiner, make things very pleasant for the examiner. That's my request to all of you. So this question I have taken to just tell you, even though the content is right, organization makes the things easier and more fruitful for you, more productive for you for exam point of view, right? Vembanad Lake. See, Vembanad Lake. Everybody knows about the Vembanad Lake. It's a brackish lake. It's a lagoon lake. It's a backwater. But why you forget writing about the kayals? Why you forget writing about the backwater kayals? Kayal is the word that examiner will be searching in your answer. Yes, it's a tourist attraction. Yes, it is famous for flora and fauna, but flora and fauna is not the key point here. Kayals are the backwaters, which is the term used, right? So this is very important, right? Chale, one more question I'm going to discuss with you. Let's see. See, in the northern plains region, this question asks about, this is a 7-marker question. It is asking about the northern plains of India. Northern plains of India. And see what the aspirant writes here. This is a very fundamental mistake that it is written about that northern plain is divided into Bhabar, Bangar, Tarai and Khadar. So even if you are writing about the sequence of the plains from the foothill of the Himalayas to the alluvial belt of the river, so this is not the division of the northern plain. This is not the division. This is the sequence of the deposition from the hill, from the foothills of the Shivaliks, that is outer Himalayas, till the valley of the river. You need to be very clear while writing. So see, I have written that from Shivaliks to alluvial belt. So this is basically the sequence of the deposition, the pattern of deposition. And still that sequence is also incorrect. As you can see, I have numbered that. Number 1 is Bhabar, number 2 is Tarai, number 3 is Bangar, and number 4 is Khadar. I have not written down that Khadar is the new alluvium because that is, we are going to go in detail. So as written in the comment section also, Bhabar, Tarai, Bangar and Khadar. So Khadar is the new alluvium, Bangar is the old alluvium with calcareous deposits called as Kankad. That is okay, that is fine. Sequence should be correct. You all know that whenever the river hits the foothills of the Shiva lakes, there are boulders and stones, and the river disappears. And that region is called as Bhabar. But after few distance, few kilometers of the distance, the river again appears and becomes the marshy area, creates a marshy area, and that area is called as the Tarai region. And that Tarai region is basically what? Is the home of the highest biodiversity, one of the highest biodiversity region. And that's why in the foothill of the Shiva lakes, we found national parks. That's why we find like Jim Corbett National Park, right in the Uttarakhand. And you all know that river Ram Ganga flows through that. It is a very old question asked in UPSC also, in other exams also. But I'm not going into the detail much. I'm just simply trying to communicate that every sentence speaks something, and that meanings should be well organized. Okay, that's when starting point of the question says northern plain is the important feature of the India, right? It is an important geological feature or physiographic. Write the word physiographic. If you are not writing geological structures, we all know that is a fundamental, but at least you can write physiographic structure, or it is called as the Great Plains of India. I understand that the greenery word is correct, but before that, examiner expects this physiographic feature. Then northern plain is divided according to the deposition. Write down according to the deposition from Shivaliks to alluvial belt. That is then Bhabar, Tarai, Bangar and Khadar. That's okay, that's great. Then the question asks about the note on the northern plains. It's not simply asking about the importance, right? Because the aspirant knows about the importance, that's why he or she has written that. I must tell you, in the initial phases of answer writing, a student delivers only what he or she knows, not what the question demands. You need to be very, very clear about it. So what the question demands is simply a note on northern plains. So first take some liberty to define about the positioning of northern plains through the figure, as we have just marked it in the comment section, right? That is the Himalayas in the north, peninsular plateau in the south, transition zone is the northern plains. We can also say that northern plains is formed by the collision of the Indian and Eurasian plate. I'm not going into the geological part, but we all know that both are the continental plates. That's why they had the same density, and that's why no plate was ready to subside one beneath the another. Nobody was ready. Both the plates were not ready. And that's why the sedimentation, or called as the geosynclines in the Tethys Sea, just uplifted and created the fold mountains. And when they created the fold mountains, the river started to flow from the height, from the peak, from the snowbound mountains. And these rivers brought some sediments in the million of years. And now the northern plains are formed. This is what we expect you to write in the answer. That is a formation. So one is the key importance, key point. Second is the formation. Now you can easily go towards the importance, that these are the fertile plains, these are home to the green revolution, these are the basically greeneries, these are the bread basket, anything you can write. These are home to the higher, most populated states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and all. These are the plains where we find high level of biodiversity also. From historical perspective, these are the plains where the Rig Vedic people or the later Vedic people or the Mahajanpada people or the later on all the civilization of India finally resided. Right. So these are the cradle of Hindu civilization the student has written, and we had provided you marks for that. Right. So be very, very specific while writing answer. Right. So just the way I have explained you things, try to start thinking in your room, close your eyes, think for 30 seconds before start writing and using your pen. Right. So one more question I am just discussing with you. How does estuary form? We will discuss the new questions today, but let's see some things because we are receiving copies day by day, more than 50, 60 copies we are receiving, and students are doing the same mistake in all those things. That's why I thought I will evaluate and bring you one evaluated copy so that you understand that what you have to do, where you all are doing mistakes. Right. So this is our test series students copy, which we have evaluated with so much of hard work and so much of detailing of the feedback. So let's see what estuary is. Question simply asks the estuary. So the focus of the question is the estuary and the locus is its formation. So let's see what estuary is. So estuary is formed, as the student has written, estuary is formed when river does not join the ocean of bay, well, the spelling or the sentence is incorrect, and it disappear and divided into distributaries. I'm really sorry to say, but you are trying to define delta instead of the estuary. That's what I'm getting, and it's a zero marker. The starting is the zero, so I've simply cut it. See, estuary is not a feature which is formed through the distributaries. Estuary forms as a structural outcome on the western coast of India, where the subsidence took place during the collision of the Indian plate. And because of that subsidence, the ocean water enters into the solid peninsula, and the river simply merges with the ocean there. There is no delta, there is no distributary on the estuaries. Why have you written this? This is completely wrong. So you can use these words that it's a coastal water body, which forms at the meeting point of the ocean and the river. River here simply merges with the estuary. I'm just telling you the answer. Simple river simply merges with the estuary and sheds its sediments at the floor of the ocean. There is no sediments on the on the surface. That's why it is estuary. If there is a sediment on the surface, then it will be a delta. But there is no delta for the river Narmada or Tapti or river Sabarmati or river Mahi, which goes to the Gulf of Khambat. So Narmada flows through Bharuch and creates a estuary there. Tapti goes through Surat and creates the estuary there. So whenever there is a estuary, there is entry of the ocean water and meeting of the river along the coast. Simple meeting point. So even if one of you have gone to the Dwarka, you will find that there is a river. I think I don't remember it correctly. Maybe it's Gomti. As far as I remember, it's river Gomti. So it creates a very good estuary, and you can also observe the tides there. So tides in the western coast are more observed in comparison to the eastern coast also. This is the reason because there is a subsidence western flank, and that created the Sahyadris. So this is the first concept you need to write. Next, the student approached it correctly that the Narmada and the Tapti river flow in Rift Valley between Vindhyans and the Satpuras. That is okay. That is fine. That is good. But the Tapti is not flowing between the Vindhyans and the Satpuras. That is incorrect. So as we have drawn the map, you can see Narmada is flowing between the Vindhyans and the Satpuras. But Tapti is flowing south of the Satpuras, right? So this statement is still incorrect, right? And it creates the estuary at the mouth in the Arabian Sea. You can use the word mouth. No mistake in that. But the mouth in the eastern coast is the delta, and mouth on the western coast is the estuary. So as you can see in the figure very clearly, that the deltas are for the eastern coast and the estuaries are for the western coast. And the only region is the geological reason, that the western part of India flanked like this, and the western Ghats created, and the subsidence leads to sudden increase of the slope of the surface. Right. So if you are going to Goa, you must know that as you will go towards, ascend towards the ocean deeper and deeper, suddenly there will be a slope. But if you are going towards the eastern coast, going towards Kolkata, going towards the Puri, Jagannath Puri, or going towards Vishakhapatnam, then the slope will be very gradual because that part is not flanked. And that's why we find deltas of the Godavari, Krishna river, right, in the Kaveri river in the eastern flank, or in fact the Ganga river delta, right? And there Ganga and Brahmaputra delta is also a famous example of mangroves. There also is the basically, and that's why it is called as the uplifting portions. Eastern coast is called as the uplifting, and western coast is not called as the uplifting because they are forming the estuaries. So this is very, very important. So it is written that fresh water meets the ocean with funnel shaped deposition into ocean. So funnel shaped deposition happens. It is the same case. I am telling you, it is the same case when the river comes from the mountains and just drops on in the plain. It creates the alluvial fan. If you are thorough with the geography, at least physical geography part of the river formations, river depositions, the alluvial fan it creates when the river hits from the Shivaliks and enters into the plains, and they after just after alluvial fans, Bhabar will appear and then Tarai will appear. In the similar way, when the river hits the coastal part in the western western boundaries or the western part, the it sheds the all the deposits instantly, and that's why the alluvial fans are created in the beneath the oceans. Right. So that is the conceptual part, but this is what we expect about the estuary. You define estuary, you draw a diagram where the estuaries are found, then give examples of 2 or 3 estuaries. That's it. Simply, you will score very good marks. So in this question, the aspirant has wrongly described or defined the estuary. Second mistake that aspirant has done, that Narmada and Tapti both flow in Rift Valley between when they support, again the wrong statement, and a student from Madhya Pradesh or preparing for MPPSC is not expected to do these kind of mistakes. This is very, very important. Right. Next was the question about the Godavari River. So that question was well answered, but we were expecting that you draw these kind of diagrams to explain about the Godavari River. So what the question says is description of the Godavari River. So it is expected you draw a map of its basically basin or its flow. What are the basic tributaries which are coming from the left, coming from the right, and you must answer in this way so that examiner thinks, see, examiner is seeing your copy in the same way you are seeing me in your mobile screens right now. Right, the copy is going to be evaluated online, and if you are not going to make your answers very good, examiner is not going to give pain to his or her eyes to look for the key points in your answers. It will be on your screen. So MPPS is checking copies on online nowadays, right? So be very, very strategic, right? So as you are seeing on your mobiles, that as the figure is looking very good, so these figures are your should be your key strength and are your prerequisites to score good marks. And for MPPSC students and student belonging from the Madhya Pradesh, Vain Ganga must be mentioned in the Godavari, as we have written they are like tributaries. So in the tributary section, first river write down Vain Ganga, Vardha, Kanhan, and Pench. All these rivers meet, makes the Pranhita, and then Pranhita meets the Godavari river here. Before the Pranhita, Purna is very important, and the origin is at Trambakeshwar, Nasik. And from the right side Manjara comes, from the left side Indravati comes from Chhattisgarh, and then river Sabri comes from the eastern Ghat, and it forms the delta in the eastern coast. So this is the basic diagram, correct? So examiner expects this, right? So these kind of questions need to be answered. So we will limit ourselves, We will limit ourselves to discussion of the copy here. This part of the video session was for your enlightenment. I would say the exact word is enlightenment. You should start, because in India, enlightenment is all about the right view of the things. So whatever you listen, whatever you read about the answer writing, until and unless you see how to write in one evaluated copy, you will not get the idea. So now you are getting the idea how to approach, right? So don't get afraid that I don't know this much of knowledge about these questions. How will I write? Don't worry. Make your goal high, set your goal high, and then start writing. We are here to help you, and we are really happy that students are gathering courage and writing and sending us. We are really happy, but we are also trying you to make you better. Okay, so I'm again telling you, serious aspirants only will come to Adda. That is our hallmark, and who rigorously wants. Many students today also, many students came that, sir, I've written once or twice or thrice, three times, means we are not getting interview call. Please look into our answers, look into our copy, and please guide us. Okay, so we are really happy to guide students, but we are suggesting you don't wait for 2 or 3 attempts, because that will break your morale. Even if it's your first attempt, please come to Adda and learn how to approach things correctly in the first attempt only, because correcting things and changing yourself, changing habits is the toughest thing. Okay, so today's session will stretch a little bit, but that is for your benefit only. So let's look at the questions which I have brought today, and we will see what are the things we need to understand. For new questions, we need to understand. Let's see. From the new syllabus, we have come up with a question called as management by objective. So this is the question, right? The color of the right. We need to check the management by objective. Chali. So this is basically the question. So one important point, it's a 2 marker. We must try to put more and more facts. Let's see. First point, coined by Peter Drucker. Second point, in which year? In 1954. How he introduced this in his book, The Practice of Management. So 3 facts we have put here. Very good. 2 marks ensured. 3 facts we have ensured here. 2 marks are ensured. Next, it's a strategic model. It is strategic model related to what? It aims to improve organizational performance. See, every day we are looking at the different concepts related to organization and management, administration, and increasing ultimately the output and the performance. So it's the strategic model that aims at improving organizational performance by clearly what? How will we define that? How will we do that? By defining objectives agreed by both management and the employees, because management has their own objectives, employees has their own objectives, but we need to come on the common ground on which both are agreeing, and then the objectives will be clearly defined, considering all the practical nuances of the things, and then to increase the organizational performance, strategic model will be decided. And this whole concept was given in the book of Practice of Management, released in the year 1954. अगर मैं आपसे connect करूं तो it's before the formation of the Madhya Pradesh. These theories are being devised in the Western countries. See, India was going to the political turmoil at that time and state reorganization. And at that time in the West, we are talking about the management and the objective. So giving you some historical sense. That's it. So it is coined by Peter Drucker. Chal, let's move on to the next question. Next question says forebrain. अग्र मस्तिष्क का हिस्सा forebrain. I am repeating the question twice, and you should also do that when you are writing the mains examination. Always revise the question twice in your brain, in your mind, so that very clearly you must understand. You must not confuse things. Right, so let's start. Forebrain is the largest part of the brain. That is the first fact. What it houses, like in the second, cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus part, and it houses cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus, pineal gland, and limbic system. That is very good. two points again mentioned about the forebrain and its part. It is the anterior part, right? It is in this section of the brain. That's why it is anterior part. It controls what? Its function should also be mentioned: temperature and urge for the eating and drinking and the memory, right? So this is how you define the forebrain. And I've also brought one image related to that. See, this is the forebrain part, then this is the hindbrain part, and this is the midbrain part. Okay, and the lower portion is called as the brain stem. So there is no space there, so that I have drawn the figure. I brought the figure in the next page. But I would suggest you that if you find your handwriting legible and well organized, and you also have some liberty or have some scope of drawing this figure, so please draw it. It should be a very rough image that will also work, or that will enhance 0.25 marks for you. Okay, so let's move ahead about the after the management of objective and the forebrain. Chali. So let's move ahead. This is Prayag Prashasti. Very, very famous question. Very famous question of mains and prelims both. Let's see how will we answer that. First thing, it is Prayag, so it is Allahabad. Prashasti means inscription, so it is Allahabad pillar inscription. Very good. Also known as Prayag Prashasti. Very nice. And which mentions what? This is the key point. What does it mention? It mentions about edicts of Ashoka. That is the first thing. Second, Samudragupta, and third is Jahangir. So examiner would be looking for three important eras or the rulers mentioned in the Prayag Prashasti. So one is from the Ashokan period, that is the edicts of Ashoka. And I must tell you that this was not initially erected in Allahabad. This was erected in Koshambi. Please note it down very, very clearly. So this was basically the Koshambi pillar inscription at the time of Ashoka. This was the Koshambi pillar inscription, but later on it was brought to Prayag. Some sources say by Akbar, some says by the Jahangir. So we need to be very alert while writing. We are not saying that who brought it, but we simply can say, which is very sure, that it contains the inscriptions about three important rulers, that is the Ashoka, Samudragupta, and the Jahangir. And who found it in the last century? That the name of the person is James Prinsep. Please be alert. In 1837 he was the person who found these pillar edicts in Allahabad fort, within the premises of the Allahabad fort. And that's how he came to know that there is something written, there is something eroded. Let's find out what is written, let's find out the history. And James Prinsep was a secretary of the Asiatic Society. And if I am telling you that James Prinsep is the person, I must tell you the two other person who are key in finding out the overall Indian civilization's history is Alexander Cunningham, and the next is John Marshall. And at the time of Alexander Cunningham, Archaeological Survey of India came into existence, and he was the first director, and that's why he is called as the father of Indian archaeology. And John Marshall, you all know, under his guidance, we have excavated Harappan civilization 1921. 1921. And who discovered it? That is for you. You need to comment and answer. So many students are live right now, and I'm really happy that everybody is putting so much of effort to understand things. So be live with these sessions. When you listen live, it is very, very important that will be very alert, that you will miss things, and that increases your alertness and increases the reception of your mind. So continuing the topic of mind, let's see one more topic of today is reflex arc. Acha, one point I have missed, that is Samudragupta's political and military achievement was composed by whom? Hari Sen. So this is the additional cherry on the cake, which will bring you 0.25 marks extra if you are able to write it, right? So it is the Koshambi inscription, which was brought, this pillar was brought to Allahabad. Then in this Allahabad inscription, initially Ashoka's messages or the edicts were mentioned. Then Samudragupta mentioned it's his political achievement achievements with the help of Hari Sen, who was the court poet in the Samudragupt's time period. Samudragupt's court, basically the Gupta era. Then Jahangir, basically the Mughal era. Jahangir, some lines are also mentioned about him. Right, so basically the Mughal era, Gupta era, as well as the Mauryan era. This pillar edict encounters. Let's move on to the reflex arc. Reflex arc. We all know that it is reflex action word, we all know. But how this reflex action works through our body defines the reflex arc. Let's see. It's the pathway that a reflex takes in the body. Suppose we touch a very hot object and suddenly this sensory stimulus flows or moves through our brain, and then we suddenly remove our hand from that object. So that instant reaction is done through the reflex arc. We have not done any thinking ki, oh, this is very hot, so should I keep my hand on it or not keep my hand on it? Oh, no, I remove it? Yes, I should remove it. So now I am removing. So this is not the time we are taking. So when I'm taking with reflexes, dealing with the reflexes, as you know that whenever the ball comes in the game of cricket with the speed of 150 kilometer per hour, the batsman hits the ball with the help of reflex action. There is a moment of only less than 1 second. In fraction of second, a batsman has to just swing the bat in a particular direction or put the stroke. That can't be done with the help of thinking. It can only be done with the help of reflex action. So we are here simply defining about the reflex arc. So reflex arc is the pathway through which reflex action works, and reflex arcs function in order to maintain a balanced and stable position. Ultimately, we need to balance. Suppose the ball is coming, we will just go away from the path of the ball. And the same thing, if you are watching me right now, you can understand that currently Donald Trump was targeted by a shooter, by a group of people, I think with the help of a gun or a sniper maybe. And in just a fraction of second, Donald Trump just tilted his head, and because of that, that bullet passed through his ears and he got injured in his ears, and he just got escaped in a fraction of second. Right, so reflex arcs are very important, very important, and through which we are going to have our reflex actions working healthily. So when we touch any hot object, we remove hands. This is the example. You can write in 4 to 5 words. It will increase the worth of your answer and you will score 2 marks. Next question is lokayat. Lokayat, we have already done Ajivika sects, right? So Lokayat also is one of the heterodox sects. Let's see. Charvak schools are called as the Lokayat philosophy and heterodox philosophical school of materialist, and it is propounded by the Brihaspati, and it was rejected by and they rejected the Vedas, Atma and afterbirth. So there are multiple things. Charvak philosophy is also there in your paper 4 syllabus. So it is also called as the Lokayat philosophy or the Charvak philosophy. Their followers are called as the Lokayats. But who propounded it? Brihaspati propounded it. Is it a Nigam school or Agam school or Shraman tradition? One more point you can add. It is neither Nigam nor Agam. It is Shramana tradition or heterodox school. Both the words will work for this, heterodox schools, because in the Shraman tradition they write their own, because they are mostly based on the moral traditions of their own. They are not dependent on any Vedas, right? Agam traditions brings their authority from the Vedas, and especially the tantric form of the religion comes from the Vedas, especially the Atharva Ved, and all the three other Vedas basically follows the Nigam tradition, right? So this is the basic criteria, basic understanding. And if you have understood these schools of philosophy, like there are 6 Shad Darshan again in the prelim syllabus has been added. Shad Darshan is Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa. Those are called as the Nigam school of philosophies or Nigam school of traditions. Right. Very nice. So let's move ahead. Let's move ahead and let's see how we can answer one more question related to the management. Very important question. And many students are live. I'm really happy that the students are taking things seriously day by day, because otherwise you will keep roaming in the streets for 5 to 6 years and you are not going to get why I am not getting selected in the exam. right? So you need to be very, very serious. You need to devote 12 to 14 hours every day for MPPSC exam. Your every breathe, your every drop of blood should only think about the exam. Then only you will get that expertise that you are getting interview call and finally getting selected. Let's see how organizations respond to bring down employees stress and make them more productive in the organization. In the last few days, we are targeting again and again management administration based 7 marker question so that you get to know what the new syllabus is talking about. So let's start how we will answer that. The first thing is that the question asks about the employee's stress or the stress felt by the employee in the organization. That's why it will also be called as the organizational stress, right? And how these organizations respond to them, that is the second part, and make the employees more productive in the organization. So let's see how we answered it. Organizational stress, often referred to as the workplace stress or the occupational stress. So all the three words will work in the exam. Anything will come and the answer will be same. It is a psychological and physiological stress. So it is the psychological as well as, because the stress in the mind ultimately travels to the body. So it is psychological as well as physiological stress. And it is a response due to what? Due to adverse aspects of the individual's job and work environment. This is very, very important. Because of the adverse aspects of physiological stress and individual's job and the work environment. Right? Stress is characterized by what? Characterized as a silent killer of productivity. This statement is very important. Note it down in your copy. This question can come in the exam. The stress is characterized as a silent killer of organizational productivity. Comment. So you need to again address the answer with the same introduction, that organizational stress kya hota hai. It is workplace stress, it is occupational stress, it's a psychological and physiological stress caused by the adverse aspect of individual's job and work environment. So let's see how the causes. So causes are structure of the organization, policies of the organization, procedures of the administration, or the managerial styles and the strategies. Sometimes your immediate boss gives you more stress. Sometimes the overall organizational policies or the procedures gives you more stress. Suppose you are demanding some leave procedures and your boss is saying that you need to take permission from the different departments or the different hierarchy just to do a small task. So that becomes a bottleneck. Yes, you need some approval for a new initiative, then again you need to go through the different procedures. So those procedures becomes a bottleneck and gives you stress, and then your creativity will not be encouraged, and that will hamper you and it will give you sadness that I am not going to be valued here. I am not being promoted here for giving my ideas, for contributing my internal energy and creativity. So these kinds of procedures and overall the structure of the organization. Right. So these are the causes. But the question asks about organization's response. So how the organization responds, so we are coming to that part. So organizational techniques क्या हैं ये हमें बताना है stress management की. Right? So organizational techniques are, this is a very important point, underlined things. So you need to write your answer in this way only, underlining the key important point, then writing 3, 4, 11, up to 10, 11 words about it, depending upon the how the space permits you. Right? So selection and placement, clear goal setting, right? Selection placement, how it is selection placement policy, right man at the right place with right personality. It is very, very important. Suppose you are in the sales department, you need to have a particular kind of personality. You are in the product development department, you need to have a different kind of personality. Suppose you are the CEO, you should have the different kind of personality and different kind of priorities, because all the personalities are shaped by the different priorities. Right? Suppose you are in the sales department, so instead of thinking about the sales goals, you are simply thinking about the product development. How can we develop new product? Because that is not your task. So it's correct personality should be placed at the correct department or correct post. Then it is called as the selection placement policy. Second is the clear goal setting. That is, goal ambiguity should not be there. Challenging goals and unattainable goals causes stress. Means suppose you are going in the sorry, going in the evening hours to your subordinate and asking them to finish a 3 hour task in just half an hour before leaving for home. And this kind of task at the random time, and which is highly unattainable, which is highly unrealistic to do that in a short span of time because of the urgency, because of no prior information, will give any kind of stress. Even if we are planning a long term goal, the challenging and unattainable goal should not be set in the organization because it again gives the stress. So these kind of stress are generally felt in the entrepreneurship or the new organizations, right, which are on the path of setting up the organization in the initial phases. So there the goals are certainly challenging, and the employees or the staff or the founding members need to put extra effort there. But yes, definitely they are going to feel a kind of stress at that time. But the employees must also be trained to how to deal with these kind of stress. But very important point, this section of the question is only asking about the organizational techniques for stress management. We are not talking about employees techniques for stress management. Suppose the organization is not doing anything, then also employee can understand and come up with their new strategies to cope up, right? So what is the next point? Next point is the job enrichment and job design. So it enriches job factors and like the responsibility, recognition, and the opportunity. Next comes the role clarity. We must be clarify the roles. Proper role definition should be there and understand their role in the organization. Employees should understand their role in the organization. Last is communication counts. This is the most important aspect. If anybody is under stress in the organization, his or her boss or the HR department must call that person and give the proper counseling and communicate with that person where the problem actually lies, where are you facing issues, why you are feeling so much stressed, where is the mismatch between the organizational expectations and your responsibilities, right? So communication and counseling, when we say it is, the counseling is intended to share the problems of the employees and cope up with the stressful situation. And it consists of what? It consists of advice, reassurance, communication, release of tension, and improves thinking and the reorientation, right? So these are the important techniques for dealing with the stress management. We have already also defined what is employees stress or organizational stress at the workplace, or the occupational stress, or the stress felt by the employees at the organization, and what causes this and what are the solutions to that. We have also gone through the different two markers like Lokayat, Reflexa, Prayag Prashasti, Forebrain, and the management by objective. So today's session was highly enriching for all of you, and these are the diagrams. Like this is the diagram for the reflex arc. As soon as you touch the hot body, this reflexes will go through to your brain and you suddenly respond that just remove your hand to be in a balanced and stable state. And now this is the example of, this is the Prayag Prashasti or the Labad pillar inscription, and the different kind of scripts are mentioned there and different from different era like Ashokan, Samudragupta, Gupta era, and the Mughal era. And this was the diagram of the brain. So today we have discussed test copy, right, in the starting phase, and we found out where the students are generally doing mistakes, what the expectations of the examiners are. We also discussed new questions which need to be answered today, and we have discussed its proper answer within the word limits, within the space limit, with the key points. So this session was, I hope it would have been very, very enriching for all of you, very learning for all of you, and we are expecting more answers from you. I want you to send more than 100 answers from all of you. It's my sincere request from all of you that start writing, and if more and more of students will start writing, that will be clearly our success. And the students who want to join our daily answer writing, our test series, or the who are not ready with the notes and not gathering courage for writing answer, they can join our classes, and from day one we will encourage them to write answers. Every day we will check them, we will evaluate them, we will guide you how to approach things. Okay, so thank you very much for joining today, and I hope this session will bring so much of light in your answer writing overall strategy that you will improve day by day. Thank you.